Welcome to Be the Scandal, the sacred rebellion of being your authentic self. I'm your host, Danny Hickman. Let's have a conversation about the truth of the moment and the energy of presence. Many of us don't know how to be present with the truth of the moment. When I think about what the truth of the moment means, for me, it simply means what's happening right here and now, the present moment. The truth of the moment can look a lot of different ways. Sometimes the present moment is filled with joy and excitement. It feels expansive. Typically, but not always, it's easier to be present with these moments. Other times, our present moment is filled with heavy grief and emotional pain. And of course, there are moments when we're feeling everything in between. I want to invite you to do a quick embodiment exercise with me to bring awareness to your body in this present moment. If you're able and not driving or operating heavy machinery, I invite you to get comfortable wherever you are. Maybe lean into your seat a little bit deeper, and when you feel ready, slowly close your eyes. Now, starting with your head and working downward, I invite you to simply notice if there was any tightness, tension, or sensation calling your attention as you're scanning your body. Also, I invite you to notice if you have any thoughts popping in that are asking for your attention as you're completing this body scan, or simply noticing in this moment what is present for you in your body. I'm going to pause for a moment to give you space to check in with your body, and we'll reconnect in a moment. Before moving on, I really want to be intentional and ask you to check in with yourself. What was that like for you? The invitation here is to simply reflect on how you felt, bringing in the energy of presence to yourself and your body. And just noticing, without any judgment, this information as you reflect. Now let's shift and drop into our logical brains. I want you to think about how present you truly are with yourself and your life. After that exercise, you might realize you aren't as present as you think you are, and that's okay. There's no judgment here. Let's be honest. There's so much of our lives that are on autopilot that it's actually quite helpful. Things like blinking, breathing, even brushing your teeth. You don't need to think about it consciously. We do it without having to be fully present with it. If we consciously thought about everything we were doing, it would be quite overwhelming. Just as these behaviors are unconscious, we have unconscious responses to when the truth of the moment feels overwhelming. Most of us just don't think one day, oh, the present moment kind of sucks and I don't want to be here for it. We all have different thresholds that we're able to be present in, which I like to call our window of tolerance. We have a window of tolerance for pleasure and pain. Essentially, the window of tolerance is how much you can be present in before your system engages in a fight, flight, freeze, or a feigned death response. Essentially, it's really looking at what you can be present in before your system starts sounding the alarms. Most of us are living disembodied lives, disconnected from ourselves and the present moment. There are lots of reasons for this. Some of it is simply our culture. There are so many things asking for our attention. And other times, it's because of our coping strategies in the face of trauma and emotional pain. We all have our go-to strategies to cope, the things that we do unconsciously when the truth of the moment feels really big. Here are a few examples of ways that we cope and leave the present moment. Maybe it's distraction for you. Things like binging your favorite show on Netflix or overly investing yourself in other people's problems. I mean, the list of distractions is quite endless because we can get really creative. Or maybe it's avoidance. Things like substances or actively ignoring things, denial, and again, the list is completely endless. There are so many individualized coping strategies for emotional pain. Most of us have learned how to not be present in our emotions at an early age for various reasons, including trauma, abuse, difficulty regulating your emotions when you were younger, a lack of presence and support from your caregivers. When we don't have the support when we're younger to help us regulate and process our emotions, we figure out how to do it on our own. And then we keep doing what works. So it becomes a habitual response to overwhelming and stressful moments. And all is well and good until our coping skills create problems and dysfunction for us in our lives, including blocking us from being present in the moment and actually processing our trauma and emotional pain. So really, these coping skills are keeping us stuck in our pain. The first step in bringing presence back to your experience is recognizing that you aren't present, and then practicing strategies that help you to be present and widen that window of tolerance for the truth of the moment, which simply means learning how to be present in a wider range of emotions. Also, I think this is important to say, as a trauma psychotherapist, I help people go deeper into understanding themselves by getting curious as to why they're disconnecting in the first place. I and a lot of my clients I work with love understanding the reason for the disconnect and why we don't feel safe being present in the moment, all in the energy of curiosity and compassion. And we're not going to go deep into that right now. That's definitely a conversation for another day. Right now, I'd love to leave you with another quick exercise to practice presence. This is a simple exercise you can do alone or with someone else. I personally love doing it with someone because we're adding that level of vulnerability to the mix. If that feels a little too edgy for you right now, I invite you to practice this exercise alone. It's called What Are You Noticing? And it's simply that. All you need to do is say out loud what you're noticing in the present moment. I like to set a timer for 2 minutes and complete this exercise. And just know if 2 minutes might seem like a long time for you right now, just starting off, feel free to adjust the time to 1 minute. That will probably still feel really edgy for you. The directions for this exercise are really simple. I invite you to scan your body like we did earlier in the episode and speak to any tightness, tension, sensation you might be feeling in your body. Or maybe you'll notice a thought that's popping into your head or a memory calling for your attention. Or maybe in the moment, you'll notice something outside of you calling your attention. Cars driving by, a fan in the room, maybe talking in the next room beside you. The best part about this exercise, hear this loud and clear, there is no right or wrong way to do it. And to show you that, I'm going to demonstrate quickly for this next minute so you can really see there's literally no right or wrong way. So I'm going to set my timer for 1 minute, and I'm just going to go through what I'm noticing in this minute as I scan my system. In this moment, I'm noticing that my nose itches, so I'm going to scratch my nose. In this moment that I'm noticing that I'm kind of taking short inhales, so I'm going to invite in a deeper breath. In this moment, I'm noticing my whole body relax as I take in a deeper breath. In this moment, I'm feeling a little distracted because I'm noticing the sound of the cars driving by. In this moment, I'm noticing a slight, I wouldn't say headache, but a slight pain in my right temple. In this moment, I'm noticing kind of like a prickly sensation in my right leg. In this moment, I'm noticing something outside of me. I notice like the tick of a clock. And in this moment, I'm noticing my alarm going off. It is that simple. I invite you to do this exercise and practice it in other exercises of presence. We want to create new networking in your brain, which requires repetition. It's like that muscle memory. We want to practice, practice, practice. And as always, I invite you to move forward with this new awareness from this episode in the energy of compassion as you're stretching and growing your ability to be present. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Be the Scandal. If you like what you heard, don't forget to click subscribe so that you can join in on the sacred rebellion of being your most authentic self.